My name is Nathan Webb. I'm the pastor of Checkpoint Church, an online community for nerds, geeks, and gamers. I'm contemplating that I've careened into a contemporary contemplative community by coincidence. What I mean to say is this: Checkpoint, the church for nerds, geeks, and gamers, hasn't stopped moving since the moment we launched our Discord community space. You see, I've learned recently that the church is, in fact, the building. I grew up in the church as the pastor's kid, and my day-to-day life was when we would arrive at the church to open the doors, and then how long it would last until the last car pulled out of the parking lot so we could lock those doors back. It was a series of entrances and exits made up of powerful worship and relationship building, and it was good. I then went into the ministry and was gifted with the opportunity to serve at a new church start in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I would arrive to open the doors on Sunday morning to prepare the space for worship, and then I would wonder how long it would last until the last car pulled out of the parking lot so I could lock those doors back. And it was good. Then I was appointed to a church, and you guessed it, I measured my days by the time that the church was locked and unlocked, and it was good. So, like a short-sighted pastor ought, I assumed that Checkpoint would be one and the same, that it would be a series of opening and closing digital doors. Instead, I discovered a beating heart of a new kind of old organism. The church was alive. It wasn't being resuscitated on Sunday mornings or Wednesday evenings. It was alive. I started with Twitch, where I would open the doors 3 days a week for a few hours at a time. But I began to discover that when I would end our live streams, there were people still waiting outside the door. Something needed to change. The community commanded a place called Discord that I'd barely even heard about, let alone used for the church. But I humbly began to craft, building shaky brick by brick, bite by bite, of what would become a digital church building. I opened the doors, certain that the nerds would call me out on my shoddy workmanship. And they did, to be fair. But they stayed and helped me carve out the rough spots and line up the drywall seam. And when we were done working, they didn't leave. They stayed in the building. And even now, as I write this, say this, or you watch this, they're still there. Ever since that first moment that I built those digital doors, they've never once been locked. Some days the halls of the digital building are quieter than others, but they're never empty. In my home church, there's a door that never locks too. It's a prayer room. In that room, there are guides and Bibles and comfy chairs and tables, drawing utensils and tools of contemplation. I've always loved that room. I've always loved the idea that it never locks. But I never thought that the whole building could remain unlocked. I've always seen the building as not being what the church really is. I've always thought we worship it like an idol. One critique I hear of the digital church often is that we don't have a physical building, so we cannot be a real church. My usual retort was that the church is not a building, but maybe it is. Maybe we've just gotten confused about what we actually built. We assume that the building is brick and mortar, but what if that's not it at all? What if the building that is the church can't be locked, protected, or insured? What if the building that we call church is something built by people and their time and their willingness and desire to be together? I careened into a contemplative culture known as Checkpoint. It's monastic, it's contemplative, it's 24/7 community that is the beating heart of the church. When God felt distant from the people of Israel, God built a dwelling place. When the dwelling place wasn't enough, God built a dwelling being. When the dwelling being died and rose, God left a dwelling spirit. And that dwelling spirit descended upon the people to dwell within the body. And the dwelling body we call the church. And the body is alive. What is being built? Where is the fruit being seen? If the church is building, where is the Spirit alive? Look, I am doing a new thing. The body digital has not stopped moving since. It is alive and it is vibrant. When the body began to decline, the dwelling was made digital. So be it.